What's good, YouTube? It's your man, Rage King, back with another one. Yes, another upload to the channel. And before we get started, I ask if you'll please go down there, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit that bell for notifications if you're new. Welcome to Rage Rants TV. This is how we do. Raging Rebels make some noise. And if you're new to the crew, welcome to the Raging Rebel Revolution. Now let's vibe. Now, first off, before we get into it, take a look around you. Looks a bit different this time around, huh? Hope y'all like it. Now, let's speak on the situation at hand. Let's get down to business. Let's get serious. Y'all, the darkest day in Houston, Texas history has finally come. Deshaun Watson has formally asked for a trade from the Houston Texans. Will he be traded? We don't know. But anybody with a brain that works knows that this situation can get very ugly very fast. Just look at what happened with the Houston Rockets. They tried to stall it out, wait it out. It just didn't work. In this case, the NFL can work out different. It does work out different. But I would not be surprised to see Deshaun Watson withhold his services. But knowing how petty the McNair family can be, I'm deeply afraid that Deshaun Watson could very possibly be wasted on the bench. I hope he doesn't try to play his way out of Houston. You know what I'm saying? Not play as good so he can force his way out. But knowing the McNair family and knowing how petty Cal can be sometimes, I would not be surprised seeing them try to keep him on the bench or, trade or, just try something very fishy. You understand what I'm saying? So enough of me rambling. Let's get on to Max Smiley and Stephen A. Let's let them take over. We're going to react to what they think about it. Let's get to it.
Adam, as always, brought a lot of information to us. Max, I'll start with you. What was your biggest takeaway from what he shared?
That Deshaun Watson is open to many possibilities as destinations. Since he has a no-trade clause, he could shoot a lot of those down. But if he's open to a lot of different possibilities, then actually the Texans might come out of this okay. On the one hand, they look awful, because how do you blow it with Deshaun Watson? Everyone knows that's on you. That ain't on Deshaun Watson.
My point's exactly Cal McNair. And I mean no disrespect to him as a man. I mean no disrespect to him as a business owner. But as an NFL owner, strictly speaking as an NFL owner, this guy's an absolute dunce. He's an absolute idiot. He's a buffoon. He has no business owning a football team. He treats a football team like it's one of his toys. You understand what I'm saying? These are grown men. These are people's lives you're playing with. These are people's legacies you're playing with. And he just doesn't seem to care. I just think this guy doesn't know the difference between shampooing, brushing his teeth, or taking a crap. He really doesn't when it comes to football. He really doesn't. And you see now just how bad it's gotten in just a year's time. You understand what I'm saying? In just a year's time, it's gotten this bad. He just signed a contract for an extension last year, and now he wants out right after signing an extension. Something is going on in Houston. What is going on in Houston to cause this, man? I think it's Cal McNair, to be honest with you.
So that makes them look like the worst organization in the NFL right now, and that's saying something. There's some pretty dysfunctional organizations. On the other hand, Caserio comes in, the new GM, with a trade that is going to net him, I would think, conservatively, 3 first-round picks. I would think that's where the bidding starts, since there are going to be so many bidders. And you just think
Just real quick. I don't care if you can get 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson. That doesn't always equate to Deshaun Watson. I mean, just look at what the Giants did not too long ago with Odell Beckham Jr. Now, I know it's a different position, entirely different player, but he was traded for essentially 3 first-round picks, and the Giants still have not recovered. They are still rebuilding 2 to 3 years after that trade. And Daniel Jones still doesn't have anybody legitimately to throw to. No one as legitimate as OBJ. That's all I'm saying. And he was a wide receiver. Good luck trying to replace an all-world generational talent quarterback.
Molly, we're Giants fans, and Daniel Jones didn't show a lot of improvement in year 2. But even if he did, you give everything you got for Deshaun Watson. Because if you have a really good coach and Deshaun Watson, you're going to make the playoffs every year. And if you have a good coach in Deshaun Watson and a competent GM, you're going to be Super Bowl contenders. When the odds come out preseason every year, you're going to be among the favorites to make a Super Bowl run. And that's what every fan in every NFL city wants, with the exception of fans in Kansas City. There's no fan base that wouldn't be, whose quarterback situation overall wouldn't be improved by bringing in Deshaun Watson.
Couple of things that jumped out before I say anything else, and we'll get into this a little bit later. I think the Jets with the number 2 overall pick, the number 23 overall pick, the 34th overall pick, along
The Jets, Stephen A. Now look, Stephen A. I'm a big fan. I've been a big fan of you because I'm a little bit younger. You know what I mean? I've been a fan of Stephen A. ever since I was watching him on Quite Frankly, when he still had an afro, a legit afro. I used to get in trouble because I used to stay up past my bedtime as a kid just to watch him talk about sports on Quite Frankly. But I'm sorry, Deshaun, if you decide to go to the Jets, I don't see how you're getting into a better situation. Because if you go to the Jets, they're literally going to trade away every single asset they have just to obtain you. And now you're just in the same exact situation you're in New York with no draft picks. You're just in New York now. And the worst team in New York on top of that. I'm just saying.
with Sam Darnold is an option that puts them in a pristine position. I think the Miami Dolphins with the number 3 pick, the number 18 overall pick, along with a second-round pick and Tua Tagovailoa, I think that's another option. A third option would be, and I don't see this happening, if the Jacksonville Jaguars were somehow willing to unload their number 1 overall pick, a.k.a. Trevor Lawrence.
No. Houston, 1, you shouldn't be trading Deshaun Watson. Keep him at all costs. But if you got to trade him, if you got to, which I really hope you don't, I'm praying to God you don't, do not trade this man within your division to where you have to play him twice a year. Don't do that. I don't care if it's Trevor Lawrence. I don't care if it's Sunshine from Remember the Titans. I don't care. Do not trade Deshaun. Please don't trade him at all. But if you don't trade him within a division. We got to see him twice and possibly once in a playoff game. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
A Clemson national champion, and obviously a stud for another guy who's a Clemson national champion and a stud in Deshaun Watson. If they were willing to unload picks, and it included the number 1 overall pick, I don't see that happening, but that's an option as well. Those are the 3 things that jump out of my mind. But more importantly, as it pertains to your direct question, Molly, as to what Adam Schefter had to say and what we're to peel from that, the thing that really resonates with me was the fact that he said multiple players, many players, feel the same way Deshaun Watson does.
So for those that try to say, well, Deshaun Watson just being a diva, Deshaun Watson just gets his money and thinks he can do whatever he wants, not the case. Not the case. It's clearly not the only one. The only difference between him wanting to trade and all the other players on the team wanting to get traded or get away from the Houston Texans franchise is that he's a superstar. They're not, more likely than not, other than maybe JJ. That's the difference here. So let me stop you right there if you try to come in my comment section talking about he's acting like a diva. Clearly he's not. Nobody wants to be a Houston Texans right now. Being a part of Houston Texans right now is like a wrestler being a part of WWE at this point in time. Nobody wants to be there. And I wonder why. Fish rots from the head down. Keep that in mind.
That tells me all I need to know about the Houston Texans organization. We have a state of emergency in the National Football League, ladies and gentlemen. And that state of emergency is that there is something going on in Houston that players are very turned off by. And when the star quarterback wants out, and clearly he's made that known for weeks, and now he's willing to come out and announce it, even in the aftermath of hiring a black coach that's been in the National Football League for 27 years. And David Culley, we got a problem. Something's going on in that organization. Something happened. Okay, and even though Adam Schefter gave us some increments, he gave us some nuggets and what have you. Clearly, like he said, it's not even scratching the surface. There's more to this than that, but he wasn't willing to go that far because you want to make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's before you really unload on the Houston Texans organization in terms of specificity. But in the end, what it comes down to is that J.J. Watt, a pillar of the community, you understand, an all-pro, a future Hall of Famer, somebody who until Deshaun Watson arrived and ascended was the absolute positive face of this organization, walked across the locker room to personally apologize to Deshaun Watson for the team wasting his talents. I suspect that if J.J. Watt did that, it wasn't just because of what transpired on the football field. It's something far more reaching than that. The Houston Texans have a serious, serious problem on their hands. I don't know how far it goes, but this is as bad as it gets. And
let me say something else too. I mean, this may be a bad analogy, but I don't know how many people remember the Donald Sterling situation with the LA Clippers not too long ago, with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin and all those guys going against their owner because he was a terrible owner and he turned out to be super racist all of a sudden. And then the reason why I make that analogy is because I know he's gone now, but Cal McNair's dad, Bob McNair, made the statement that we can't have inmates running the asylum, referring to NFL players having, quote unquote, too much power. It seems like ever since that statement was made, the Texans have never really truly recovered from a front office standpoint. You understand what I'm saying? Because since then, you look at Rick Smith, he's now gone, who just so happened to be a black guy. You understand what I'm saying? I know Bill O'Brien needed to go, but he ended up staying a little bit longer than he needed to. You see guys just all of a sudden, you see star players, guys that we've drafted in the first round who just so happen to be black. They end up getting traded out of nowhere for next to nothing. Jadeveon Clowney, DeAndre Hopkins. You understand? You see what I'm saying? Now, look, I'm not trying to turn this into a race thing or anything like that. I'm just simply saying that those dots right there, maybe I'm just connecting dots that shouldn't be connected, but those dots right there, they I don't know, to me, they seem like they're connected. They seem like they're connected, and we're finally getting light shed on what's really been going on with the Houston Texans organization. Because to me, they've had way too much talent to sit there, Super Bowl contending talent, to not have at least an AFC championship appearance or 2 or 3, at least. Y'all say what y'all want to. The Texans had an opportunity in 2016 to win a Super Bowl. And instead of giving us the quarterback we needed to win, they gave us Brock Osweiler. Think about that.
challenge anybody to show me a National Football League team where you had, it appears to be damn near mutiny going on there, okay? Usually it's just because the team stinks. That's not what's going on here. It's something far more. I mean, Bill O'Brien, who is in a lot of people's eyes, guys, is considered a culprit. He left football. He left pro football altogether and went back to college. He went to hide behind Nick Saban at Alabama, for crying out. I mean, something is going on with the Houston Texans. We need some details. Something ain't right.
And speaking of that, it gets me to thinking, too. Did Bill O'Brien possibly sabotage the Texans on purpose? You understand what I'm saying? Here's what I mean by that. Because, like I said, there's only been one constant throughout the entire tenure, especially, well, I'm going to say the entire tenure of the Houston Texans, but ever since the Bill O'Brien era, per se, there's only really been one other constant other than Bill O'Brien, and that's been the McNair family. It's the owners of the team. You understand what I'm saying? To me, it just seems like the way Bill O'Brien exited, it seems like he almost did it on purpose because I don't see anybody just being that incompetent, naturally. You understand what I'm saying? It seems like that was a power move to make look like an idiotic move, to be like, you know what, that's enough pressure from the fans to get me up out of here. You understand what I'm saying? And that's another constant I can say that's been going on with the Houston Texans since the Bill O'Brien era, is that good and great players, they come here and they can't wait to get the hell on. What is going on with the Houston Texans front office to where all these great players, all this great talent, Super Bowl winning coaching staffs with Gary Kubiak and Wade Phillips, who won in Denver a year after they left here? What is going on with that front office to where it seems like they are allergic to prosperity? What is going on with them? I think it has everything to do with Cal McNair. I fully and truly believe that Cal McNair needs to go ahead and sell the Houston Texans team. If every Houston Texans player has to pull a LA Clippers and I'm not saying boycott the game, but If they have to come to that and just say, you know what, we just not going to take the field, all of them do that. If they don't all request a trade, because somebody got to play for them eventually. But if they all come together, if it's that bad, and if they all decide we're not going to play for this team no more, then that should let you know who the culprit is. It's got to be ownership. That's who I'm pointing my finger at. It's got to be ownership. That's the only other thing left here that is to blame for why the Texans just simply can't get it together. We have become the new age Cleveland Browns, y'all. The Cleveland Browns made the playoffs this year. The Cleveland Browns, if they stay healthy, look like they're going to be good for years to come. Unfortunately for us, we don't. We need to go ahead and get rid of Cal McNair, call it a day, and have him sell a team, bro. It's time. It's time. Cal McNair, sell the team. Sell the team. You are not fit to run this team. You can't just hire somebody and then walk away and collect the profits on this one, buddy. It's time for you to go. Houston Texans fans, let's try everything we can to get Cal McNair to sell the team. It's our only hope. That's my video for today. I hope you enjoyed. It's been a pleasure making it for y'all. My name is Rage King, and I'm out, and I'll be back later on with more videos, more commentary, more good content. Hashtag that enough said. And even though it's downright embarrassing to be a diehard Houston Texans fan right now, still go Texans. Hashtag Cal sell the team. I'm out.